and I had to pursue a master's in design from abroad. But then COVID hit. Like both my parents were COVID positive because they were doctors, right? So I had to take up a job. And me being from an engineering background, moving into design, I always had that doubt: ki, yaar, would somebody hire me? Am I that good? Every day I woke up, I used to do, write those bash commands, shell commands. And I was like, man, this is very boring, right? I can write a Python script for this. Why am I doing this?
One thing that really helped you stand out was you took that plunge. You did post very actively, and it's very clear. I think the results from that. Yo, what up? Good to have you here, bro. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Awesome. You know what? I want to start at the top, bro. Maybe let's start here, which is when did you get started with design? And maybe we can talk a little bit more about the why. What was your why behind it?
So I'll tell you, I wasn't designing. I was into designing and all since my college days, right? But it wasn't like full time or so. All these fests and stuff, right? I always encourage people. I always encourage everyone to participate in those because you get to know who you are in that, right? So initially, I joined those fests as a tech team guy, right? I used to code and stuff, but then I realized that whatever we were coding essentially was given by somebody else, which is the design team, and they get to do a lot of fun stuff. They get to do a lot of decision making and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I had my interest in design since then only, and I had to pursue a master's in design from abroad. But then COVID hit, and then like both my parents were COVID positive because they were doctors, right? So I had to take up a job, and then I took up a job as a cloud engineer. And 6 months down the line, like it was an internship, right? 6 months down the line, I felt, yeah, what am I doing with my life? This is very boring. So that's where I thought of making a switch. The why was that this is very boring, and I used to do design, right, which was very interesting to me. You get to do a lot of decision making in that. You get to think something new every day. So that
Yeah,
is something.
yeah, nice, bro. So, how long did it take from this realization where you're like, I really dig the creative work, from that to, let's just go all in into design, like, let's just take full action? Like, how long did that take?
Or like the final decision took like one day, but the whole realization was like six odd months, right? Throughout my internship,
Yeah.
every day I woke up, I used to do, write those bash commands, shell commands. And I was like, man, this is very boring, right? I can write a Python script for this. Why am I doing this? So that's that, like 6 odd months, I would say.
And were there any doubts or fears during this time?
Of course, man. Of course, there were a lot of doubts,
Yeah, yeah,
because it was COVID time, right? And there's one con of being active on Twitter. You see that people are getting laid off daily. You see that there's a
yeah,
hiring
yeah.
crunch. There, people are not getting hired daily, right? And me being from an engineering background, moving into design, I always had that doubt. Ki, yaar, I mean, would somebody hire me? Am I that good? So yeah, there was this doubt.
So, bro, when you were figuring all this out, and you in this transition time, I'd be curious to know what was like the magnet that attracted you to 10K designers.
So I think it was around C3 when I was, thinking of joining 10K. But this was around the time when I was participating in college fests and so. And this was the time when I moved from using Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator to, I saw this new tool called XD, and I found this new field called product design. And this was around the time when C3 was about to start. I was going to even apply for that, but then I thought, let's just explore it myself. Let me explore it myself. And throughout the two cohorts, which was C3 and C4, the hype was so much, and the positivity. The positivity on Twitter. If somebody posts something, like there's so many people to support. There's so many designers. Like I personally, it was just me and my designer friend because we were from engineering college. There was no design literacy, right? So that is something that pulled me towards 10K. That I'll get to meet a lot of hustlers like me. Again, that's I I like to call myself that because I like to work a lot. I like to do new things a lot, and that's what I observed about people in 10K, that they are also trying out different things and doing a lot of stuff. So that is one thing, and the other being that I get to meet a lot of designers. In fact, the other day we were discussing this on Rachit's stream, right? That how 10K designers changed our life. That's where I mentioned, Ki, yaar, if it weren't for 10K, we wouldn't be sitting together right now. So that's something crazy.
Yeah, bro, that is quite crazy for sure, bro. Tell me this, bro. So, having heard about it, seeing all this stuff about 10K designers, finally you did enroll in the cohort. You're in the cohort. What were maybe some of the most surprising parts once you were actually in it?
everybody is so encouraging, right? That was the most surprising part.
Mm,
Like, speaking about myself, I was already doing a design job when I enrolled in that, right? But I saw people who were complete rookies, but they were, they got same enthusiasm. They Everybody was so helpful around. If I did not do anything, nobody would judge me on that, right? You can just straight up go and ask anything on, any of the Discord servers, and people are always helpful. Second thing I loved about being at 10K was it gives you massive confidence. And this is because of the vibe that you have optimized it for. Yeah, you tweeted it once, always
yeah.
optimizing for vibe, and that's what you have done so
Yeah.
far. I love it, man.
Thank you.
That's
Great to
awesome.
hear that. Love to hear it. Thank you for that feedback, bro. So tell me this, bro. Now that you are in here, of course, it was a challenging journey for you. Like, even remember your case studies, like post cohort stuff. So let's maybe zoom into that, which is what was some of like the results of being at 10K? What has this kind of done for your life, career, whatever?
So I used to, I'll tell you very honestly, right? I used to be so
Hmm.
much introverted. I used to be so much introverted. Like, if somebody even initiates a conversation with me, I used to
Hmm.
back off. Yeah, man, what should I, what would they think, right? If I
Yeah.
reply.
Yeah.
But then post 10K, the scenario was completely changed. I was so much more confident with whatever I was doing, right? That's something that I, like, subconsciously, I did not even intend to learn that, but that's something that I learned, being confident, right? And then, showing your work, or like always showing up and always building in public, showing your work is something that I also learned. And that has quite benefited me quite well, right? The case study that I posted, it got some traction. I have gotten some good opportunities also, OneCard being one of them, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, bro. So great to hear that. I think definitely what I have observed is throughout the cohort, one thing that really helped you stand out was you took that plunge, even when it was like kind of, let's just say, not so sure, but you took that plunge. You did post very
Yes.
actively, and it's very clear. I think the results from that.
Absolutely. I mean, you always got to post, right? So
Hmm.
whenever I find someone with this dilemma, should I post or should I not, right? Should I do it or should I not? I always recommend them to do it, right? Because what's the worst that could happen? You will fail. Now, failure is something where you can learn massively from. That is what I have learned. If I am doing something and if people are not liking it, or that's a common scenario in design. If for some reason I'm wrong, I can definitely find out what's wrong with that thing, and I can improve on that.
Hmm.
So that is a very good way to, instantly improvise on something. And then
Yeah.
again, if it goes right, then it just goes right.
Yeah, yeah. 100%, bro. Totally agree with you. Totally relate to the introvert part as well. I find myself like I was very similar too. But one thing that changed things massively for me was just having that confidence of, okay, you can post your work. It's okay. It stings sometimes, but overall, it's a positive cycle.
Of course, of course. I mean, as a designer, you should always not expect from yourself that I'll always, create something which is just bussin', right? It's not like that. There are some times where you fail miserably, right? So that is something you shouldn't be demotivated by.
Yep, yep. So, bro, final question, right? If we could time travel right now and you could talk to your past self during that time of, time of transition, let's just say you've not enrolled in 10K yet, you're still figuring it out. What would you say to your past self? What advice? What would you want to share?
And I told you, no, I was confused if if I should join C3 or not. I would go
Hmm.
back to that particular time in my college, and I would tell it to my own self, my own, past self, that, I mean, come on, man, join C3. This is the best thing that you can do to yourself. And yeah, I would have joined earlier, definitely.
Awesome, bro. Thank you. Thanks a lot for sharing. This has been awesome. Looking
Of course,
forward to
Kamlesh.
some of the next wins in your design journey.